All right, in this segment, we're gonna be talking about what should I do when a business competitor copies my business. I love this one because of two things. A, it's happened to me, but I've also done it to other people, and not until recent. And why? Because it wasn't a direct copy. I modeled what works. So there's a difference. There's a difference between copying somebody, doing it legally and illegally. I should clarify that. And then there's a difference between copying and just modeling. Model something that works. Don't recreate the entire process again. Most people that are out there are modeling something that works. They modeled it because it worked somewhere else, and they brought that model in, tweaked it, did something a little different, and they're having great success with it. Now, why is this important, right? Because this video, we're gonna talk about how to handle competition, especially when others copy your ideas, your marketing, or your business model. Now, if they're copying, it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It just means that you're doing something right and it's worth copying. But the question comes down to this. It's not stealing unless it's actually IP infringement, intellectual property. Are they copying pages of your website that have the copyright logo on them? Are they copying your logo or the name that you have of your company that you should have trademarked by now if you're watching this video? Are they copying your patent? Are they infringing on your patent? All of these could be considered intellectual property, right? Certain colors can be copyrighted as well, and they could be trademarked, right? Within a logo and not. UPS logo, FedEx logo are two great examples. Those are copyrighted and trademarked pieces of property. And if you copy colors, if you were to be a shipping company and you copy that brown, can't do it, right? Even to the point where certain hotels in Vegas have a design, they have a look, and they have a color, and all of those are part of their intellectual property. And there's been lawsuits over this from hotels looking like other hotels in the design, in the colors, and so on and so forth. So if that can happen, it can happen in your business as well, from you or from your competitors against you. Make sure it doesn't happen. So understand, are they truly affecting, this is a question you should ask, is are they truly affecting your business, or is it just annoying? Right? Is it really affecting your business, and is it creating confusion in the marketplace against your business to somebody else, or is it just annoying? For instance, we have a competitor in one of my companies, and they are a specific facility in a specific state. We are an international company that does work all around the globe and majorly in the United States. And my company name, one of them, on one of my businesses, we have somebody who copied the company name. And it's in a similar industry, and it's annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, are they posing a major threat where if somebody was looking for the types and products and services that I was offering, would they go to that business? They would probably click on their site, which their site ends up on like the 14th page of Google because our marketing's so good. So A, I'm not worried about it there. But let's say they showed up on the second page. It would be annoying, but it's not taking business away from me because they don't offer the same products and services, right? They offer a gas. However, gas is 1/100th of our business. So somebody looking for our products and services most likely wouldn't come to them because they're a local business that's doing something locally that happens to work with gas, right? They just named their business after my company. Maybe they knew it, maybe they didn't. I would assume that they did, because if they did the right thing, like I talk about in these videos, they would have done a name search and they would have looked at it. Guess what? It's annoying. We've sent them a cease and desist, but it's left at that. I don't need to take them to court and sue into oblivion, which I would win, but it's just annoying. It's not taken away from my business. However, we did have a business that did take away from my business. We had a brand. I said this just in the last video, so if you want the full story, you can look at it there, but I'm going to recap it now. We had a brand that copied us. I had another, we were gonna price war to the bottom, and I didn't. I created yet another brand that copied him. Exactly copied him, same products, almost the same name, the whole 9 yards. That brand and him, price war all the way to the bottom. He had to completely rebrand himself and do his whole business all over again, spending time, money, effort, and resources that I didn't have to spend because that other brand that was a throwaway brand for me sits right here, still does a couple $100K in profit a year, and ultimately we just ride it out, right? I could have thrown that brand away or shut it down, but it gave me a lot of insight into the landscape of the customer, the market, and many other factors that I would have never had early on if I never would have done that in the first place. But what it did do is it protected my main brand. So that is a major strategy that you can actually employ if you need to in your own marketplace. However, maybe you don't need to do that, right? because there's other defenses that you can take early on that you should take when you have started your business. And one of those is going to be trademarking your brand and logos. I talked about this in our last 2 segments, I believe, or series, I should say, segments in our last 2 series of when you're starting a business, and the other one that is before you start a business. I've talked about this the entire time. You should be trademarking your logo, your brand, your name, whatever the case is. Trademark, design mark, word mark. Do as many as you can to solidify it as many times as you can, right? That's the way I look at it. And ultimately, you should be copywriting original content. Copy, graphics, videos, all of it. If anything is taken, ultimately, or copied or duplicated by somebody else, you can say, hey, I retain the copyright on that. I have a trademark on it or a patent, whatever your invention is, and you can enforce that because it's actually against your rules if you don't put somebody on notice. You can actually be harmed in that space, and it looks bad on you for not enforcing it. So the real solutions are going to be something that you wouldn't think of. And what are they? Innovate faster. I've talked about this before. Speed to do anything is better all the way around. If you take a lot of time making decisions and acting on certain things, you are going to get crushed, and somebody's going to move faster than you. They're going to beat you to the punch, and they're going to end up doing things faster. And then now you're the person that's modeling them. Don't do that. Speed will get you there faster. So innovate faster, deliver a better customer experience, and ultimately build deeper customer relationships, right? Loyalty beats imitation. If you can build customer relationships better, if you can do better for the customer and make them feel a lot better because you're connecting with them, you're understanding them better, you are there with them on their needs, their wants, their desires, you will connect with them and make them feel a certain way. And guess what? That's something that cannot be replicatable from other businesses. It's like a thumbprint. If your business has a thumbprint that somebody else can't imitate, guess what? You're doing much better than your competition. You probably have nothing to worry about, but it doesn't mean that you need to look away and not pay attention to the other things that we talk about in our series and these videos here. So what are other options here? Create barriers to imitation. Proprietary processes. Don't tell the world what you're doing. Your process is internal, should stay internal, all right? NDAs, have NDAs signed, exclusive partnerships, and then have a community and culture that customers want to be a part of. Safeguard your secrets, your operations, your processes, how you do certain things, but ultimately bring people along for the ride on the external so that they see what you're doing, they're along for this movement, and they are involved with you. They feel the emotion with you. They're going through the ride with you. One of the best people to do this is Russell Brunson. And you go to ClickFunnels or you see ClickFunnels, you are along for the ride. You know how he's feeling at certain points of the time. He has product launches and they weave certain things into their launches, and you're right there in the front seat of the car as things are happening along the way, and you're passing by the opportunities. You're going in the product launches. People should be doing that in your business as well. So use your competition as a motivation to improve your value or your brand. Every so many months, I will go on and I will do it from a locked browser or an incognito window, maybe a different IP address. I look at all the competition. I will go in and I'll see what they're doing. And I do this for 2 reasons. Obviously, you know your playing field and you know the ball game that you're playing in. If you know your competition, you know what you need to do to beat them. However, I look for other things within the competition. What state are they in? Are they paying more than I am? Is their business model the same as I am? I know for a fact right now on certain businesses of mine that I'm doing 80% margins on it. Whereas I have competition that's out there that's probably looking at 40 or 30% margins. Why? They're in a different state. They're paying income tax, not to mention they have 5 employees that come into the office every single day, and they get the most expensive law firms that they pay retainers to if certain things happen. Whereas me, I pay law firms by the hour. I have staff around the globe, and I actually have all my other staff who are experts and know more about than their staff does, that are not located in my business physically, but that are around the US or the globe themselves, and they're able to consult me and do the things that I need them to do, which I teach all this in our virtual scaling accelerator, which is one of our programs. So these are things to consider. These are things to understand. What's the landscape? What are you doing that your competition is not doing, right? And of course, the community and the culture. What's the emotion that you're making them feel? Why do they want to be a part of your brand, right? So the best defense against copying is to keep evolving faster than your competition can keep up with you. That's simply how it is. When I came into certain industries, I saw what was going on. Bam, I hit it hard. I did a year of research I did a couple of products and a couple of sales, and then I went hard. The second and third and fourth year, I came into the industry like a tornado. Other people started copying me and what I was doing because they saw with what I was doing was taking business away from them, it was working. And it wasn't the first time that I'd done that. I've done that many times in other industries and with other products and services alongside of that. So you can do the same thing. It just takes due diligence up front and understanding your competition and leveling the playing field. The next one, we're going to be talking about how do I handle customer complaints and negative reviews. We'll see you there.